So, although we're not fully back to production and fully back to full strength here in the shop, I wanted to take a moment to stop and kind of give you an update, because some people have been asking about, what's been going on with the new house and the new garage, and what have you been working on lately. So I want to take a moment to kind of do a little mini shop tour so you can see what we've got going on. Now, if you remember from the last shop, we really just had wire shelves and wooden workbenches, and really not a lot of space because it was really condensed and compressed, and everything was in the tandem, which was kind of doubled back on itself. So I knew that the black and red plastic shelves, craftsman shelves, weren't going to work in the permanent application because, number one, they're plastic and they aren't quite as sturdy side to side. You could really shake them if you had a lot of stuff on them, and they would kind of wobble a lot, which was a little unsettling for me. Secondly, you don't really get a 4x2 shelf space to use because the legs are inside that outside dimension on the corners. So you lose 2.5 inches here and 2.5 inches there, and so you don't really get a 4x2 shelf usable space on each shelf because you're having to contend for the legs. So I didn't want that, and I wanted to be able to use fewer uprights and kind of combine units together, daisy chained, so that I can maximize the space and minimize the amount of back-to-back uprights. So what I chose was this brand from Home Depot, which is Husky brand. Now, number one, Husky makes actual pallet shelves and those things for industrial applications and warehouse applications. So they make quality stuff. The second thing is, again, they have 2 rows on the upright, so you can take a shelf and start a shelf here and go that way without having to add a second leg. So you can multiply your units that you buy and also eliminate that much linear width when it comes to adding 2 shelves side by side. So that was the one thing I really liked. Let me show you how that works. I'll show you over here. So right here we have a 90-inch shelf next to a 65. So let's actually start here first, because this is really kind of how I started. I knew I wanted to divide the garage up in half between the 2-car garage and the 1-car garage. So what I did was I bought 2 77-inch units. I put one fully together here. And then I took another one and I only used 2 of the shelves that come with it. So I think it comes with 4 shelves, if I'm not mistaken, 5 shelves. So I put that one fully together, but this one I only used 2, a full top and one at workbench height. So underneath there, I have my compressor, my generator, and the engine is actually sitting under there on the engine cradle. So now I have a workbench that actually spans that whole spot. I have the ability to put a light underneath it, and I took one of those extra shelves and I put it in between the 2 units right there, so that it spans all the way across, and there's a complete space in between, so that when my wife pulls in her car on that side, eventually she'll be able to get out of the car and walk through that space instead of having to walk around the outside of the garage. So then the next thing I did, and again, because I was able to use the double system of the uprights, I was able to take advantage of the fact that I'm only using 1, 2, 3, 4 legs instead of 6, because I don't need a unit in the center because there's 2 rows of connection points. So then I bought a 65 and a 90, because I knew that this was exactly from there to the door. I knew that it was going to be exactly the right amount of width, because I don't have to do 2 poles in the center. I can actually connect those 2 shelves right next to each other. I can connect them on the same upright and be able to compress that by that amount and be able to make sure that all fits. And again, I spread out, as you can see, workbench height here, 2 shelves underneath, 2 shelves above for the 90, 1 shelf underneath, 1 shelf above for the 65, and now I have 12 feet of working workbench space with lights underneath that I bought from the Jungle website to be able to utilize as my workbench. So I then also bought another single set of 77. I took one of the uprights and put it on the end. So now I have 3 77s, a 65, and a 90. So far I've used everything except for the 77. I took the uprights from the 65, which are only this high, because it's only a 3-shelf unit. I took those uprights here and there, and I used the 77 shelves, 2 of them here. So now I have this height going across for here, and then my racks, and then underneath, of course, you see my tool chest. And then I took the last remaining 77 upright that I had just left over, kind of stuck it here on the end, as you can see, and I put the last 2 remaining shelves to connect over here. So now I have 144 inches of shelving space on this side, plus room underneath, of course, for the refrigerator. That's super important. I also still have all the wire shelves that I had before, in addition to the shelving I added, and now I have, as you can see, I now have a strong amount of workspace, workstations, storage stations, organization, and I can still hang all my banners from all this stuff, which I have yet to do. I had yet to really put that together. You saw some of them up in the other shop, but certainly not as many as this. These shelves are from, those racks are from the other house. I just brought them over because that company is out of business and they're super heavy duty, and I really wanted something super heavy up there to carry all the things up off the ground. And that's where we're at. So I'm super excited about being able to get back to work and be able to get back to making content. We have some merch made up for our new logo, which is probably down in the corner here, and of course you probably see it on the banner for the entire channel. Things are not exactly where I want them to be, but everything is up off the ground. Everything is in a shelf or up on in the what I call the attic. It's not really attic, but it's the attic. And so now I have to go through all of this stuff, pull it all back out, and go through all of it and start sorting out what I'm going to work on first, what I'm going to work on next. Every one of the shelves over here in this unit, every one of those shelves, that's all glass. That's glass up there. The next shelf down is a door in a box, and then there's the trunk lid, and then below that are the black racks that we had in the other garage, that all those black racks that had all those stuff in it. Those are all still over there waiting to be gone through and sorted into work sections. I have all my bright work up here out of the way like I did before, up here, up on the wire shelves I was using like before, and then behind here I have all my paint like I did before. Basically all the paint is still up on the shelf and out of the way, but it's up higher now because I now have a shelf underneath it to be able to put stuff. So it's really great being able to do this. It takes time. We moved here July 21st. It's now October. So it's all of August, all of September. So it's been a good 10 weeks, kind of every weekend, kind of getting in here and moving things around and sorting things around and getting something put up and getting things up off the ground and getting things sorted and organized to the point where you can actually bring the car. And the car wasn't here until, I think, 3 weeks ago because there wasn't a spot for it. So that's what we got going on. We're super excited about getting more organized with the channel, getting more organized with the branding. Now that we have a permanent home, and now we're better suited to be able to provide the proper content that you guys have been asking for. My wife is actually telling me that she doesn't understand why she hasn't been on the channel yet. So we got her some cool Matco tools for the cure, branded gear for her with the pink trim because she likes that. And I told her she's going to have her own tools and her own stuff and her own things, and she's going to be on camera. She's super excited about that. So a lot of great things to come. I know that we're not going to make the deadline of the 60th anniversary to get this car finished. I don't really care. Whatever condition this car is in, it's going to Alabama because I want to be present and be there for that anniversary, even if the car is not fully finished. That's perfectly fine with me because I knew I was there, the car was there, and we're going to have a great time in Birmingham in April of next year. So we're looking forward to producing content for you and it's on to the next adventure.